Morning, everyone, and welcome. And I'm really excited to be here with you for, like the COVID has had pros and cons to it, in my opinion. And one of the pros is that instead of having to rent a hotel to do New Year's classes and things like that, like they're actually all happening on Zoom, and I get to connect with so many more of you. And I'm actually really surprised at the friendships that I've made in the different groups I have across the world actually this year with clients and in different spiritual and personal growth groups that I'm in as well. And so I'm actually really grateful for that. And I'm really enjoying teaching online because the classes are a little bit shorter in length, but it just seems more intimate even than crazy as it is, than it was in a hotel with lots of people, right? Like, and especially if I can see your face and we can talk and a little bit like that. And so I decided to do this workshop today, on rituals and practices on Chinese New Year's. And first of all, I just want to do a huge apology to any Asian people that I'm teaching rituals and practices for Chinese New Year's. But I hope I get it right. And I hope, just like we have different Christmas rituals and every family has their own Christmas ritual based on their religion or based on their families and different things. My experience with my Chinese teachers is that there's also different Chinese New Year's rituals, but there's some similarities there as well. And some of those rituals are really cool, and they really set a tone for starting the year. And so that's why I've put together this PowerPoint today in this class so that we could actually go through some of them and I can talk to you about them. So we're going to go through what are the New Year's rituals, and then I'm going to do some very elementary predictions for each animal sign, and then I'll stay on to answer some questions and talk to each of you, whoever, whatever comes up for you. So if something comes up for you during the talk, type it in the chat, and hopefully I'll see it. And otherwise I'll see it at the end, or Lois will give me a heads up, and Lois will be able to answer questions too as much as possible throughout. And so thank you to Lois, first of all, who's my right-hand person in this whole thing. And so without further ado, I'm going to share my screen, and then Lois, can you just let me know if it all looks right?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I'm still letting people in.
Yeah. Does that look right?
Yep.
Okay, great. You see the one screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So yeah, Chinese New Year's 2021, rituals, practices, and predictions in the year of the metal ox. Now, if you've taken some classes with me in the past, you'll know that I start off always with a similar talk about what is energy. And I'm going to do that a little bit today too, because it's so important. Even the title of the book that I actually wrote, that Martha helped me write years ago, Do You See What I See? It comes from this. If you knew how energy worked, if you could see it, we would all live our lives differently. We would actually all be aware that we are energetic beings that has a vibration that interacts with the world, and that the world interacts with us through time and space. And so if we could actually see it, we would respond to it differently. And so that, I just feel just that alone is awakening. And so let me just, okay, so let me see if I can open this up here so I can see a few more of you. There we go. It's a new year and a new beginning. A Chinese proverb states that all creations are reborn on New Year's Day, providing hope and new energy for good things to come into your life. So in this case, New Year's is referring to the Lunar New Year. Lunar New Year being February 12th, and we'll talk about that, because like, what day is New Year's? Is it the Western calendar? Is it the solstice? Like, there's so many different options. But in this case, what we're referring to is February 12th. And it is the second new moon after winter solstice that determines the festival that we use for Chinese New Year's. Whereas in astrology, the New Year's Day that we use is February 3rd or 4th, the midpoint between solstice and equinox. And that's too big a discussion to actually get into the whole calendar. These are the types of things that I cover when we do the full, astrology class. But for now, the energy of February 12th, and also actually every new moon brings us an opportunity for a new beginning, right? And so new beginnings, that's what we're looking for. So welcome. We are entering age 9. We're entering the age of Aquarius. No matter how you look at it, we're entering the age of light. And never in our lifetimes has there been a greater opportunity to enter into true self-empowerment and awaken to your highest and best purpose and destiny. And more people are becoming conscious, and not conscious in, and it's interesting. Sometimes it's darkest before the dawn, because you're probably thinking, really, is that what's going on in the world? Because it looks pretty crazy out there. But actually what that's all doing is it's pointing to us as to who are we really and what are we? And I truly see that in my clients and in the world. And so, yeah, we are all energy, and the planets have gravitational pull. And I'm going to actually really encourage you to get a little bit each day off your phone, and on times when you can, to look at the stars, because there's a thing that happens when we look at the stars that awakens energy inside of us to the bigger existential question: who are we and why are we here and what is my purpose? It is impossible to look at those stars and not feel some of that. And throughout the year as well, pay attention to the cycles of the moon, because we are 60 to 90% water. Like, we are huge beings of waters. We are affected by gravitational pulls. And so the energy of the moon and the cycles of the sun, nothing grows without the sun. And by tuning into these energies, which is what we're doing today with it, getting ready for a New Year's practice, is like we're tuning into the energy of what's potentially there. And I always use the analogy of gardening. The Chinese calendar was actually originally created to help with gardening, in the sense of when to plant crops and when to harvest crops, when was the peak time, because a country that had the most food, that could feed its population, were the countries that grew. Those were huge determinants in how countries thrived. And so the calendar was used to plant crops. Well, if a seed is influenced by the cycles of the moon and the sun, doesn't it make sense that we're more sensitive and even more influenced by that, right? And so the ancient Chinese discovered that luck is not random, that luck can be created. And good luck means actually feeling happy, having a family that grows, having good health, having friends, being supported. And so what does a better year mean? Well, actually, that's actually a really important question that you all need to ask. And it's not just, and I don't know about you, but my wealthiest clients are not my happiest clients. So it's not just, yes, we need money and yes, we need stuff, but actually, what is it you really want? And more, what I'm finding with the people who I'm working with these days is they want more than just a roof over their head and a nice bed to sleep in. They're looking for meaning, and they're looking for connection, and they're looking for ways to feel like they're contributing, right? But even Feng Shui is very actually goal specific. Astrology is goal specific. It comes down to, what do you want? And so you can't have a better year if you actually don't actually decide what it is you want. And part of that actually also comes into analyzing where you're at, okay? Well, for me, a better year is, first thing is, I just actually want to wake up feeling happy, or to have some peace. I want to feel fulfilled, and I want my life to have meaning. It's not just about the money. I decided years ago that I want to work. There's a saying, the top 5 people you hang out with reflect your life, right? And so what are they, complainers? Or are they people that, like, okay, here's analysis and this is what I'm going to, are they part of the solution or are they part of the problem? right? Like that's a really important question to ask yourself. And so I want to be part of the solution. And part of the solution means focusing my day on things that make my vibration bigger, that make me happier. And some of that might mean going for a walk in the forest. Some of that, yes, it means making more money or certain things like that, you know, potentially, but it also is feeling connected, feeling connected. And I can't just ask people to connect to me if I'm not connecting to them, because all energy is a two-way street. Okay. And that's actually a really important takeaway for you here, is like the spiritual laws are that it's a two-way thing. Okay. So what does a better year find? Well, it would mean clarity, first of all, and clarity might bring you peace, that you actually know, oh, this is the direction I want to go in, right? Understanding your options and then creating better choices and decisions through your options. Now, a very simple example of that would be, if it's winter, is it even an option to plant a garden? No, it's not even an option. It's not the right time, right? What options are actually available to you? If you have money, is it time to grow your business? I have spoken to several people in the last few days who actually, the option that's in front of them right now is they actually need to probably go through bankruptcy to stop bleeding in what they're doing so that they can start over again. That's actually the next option. And sure, part of that whole process is grieving, being sad, and dealing with all those things. But then from that, you can create a new future. Some of that actually means maybe getting out of the relationship that you're in that's not working, or what changes do you need to make the relationship work, or those types of things. And so understanding it's like you could say, well, I want to get married. Well, if you're not even dating, that might not be an option. And so it's like, okay, what does a better year mean to you? What do you want, right? And that's important part of this. Who am I? It's like, yeah, I started off this thing. It's like, apologies to the Asian population as I talk about Chinese New Year's rituals, because I'm actually, years ago, for the first time, I got called an egg. And I was like, what's that? And an egg is, I'm white on the outside and yellow on the inside. And they call Chinese people who are born in Canada bananas. They're yellow on the outside and white on the inside, right? And it's actually a fond term used. And it's like, I did not grow up as a child of Dutch immigrant Christian parents thinking I'm going to become an expert in Chinese metaphysics. That's absolutely not. But my whole life, I've been interested in what are the influences that create our destiny. What are the influences that create our life? The circumstances of my childhood made me ask, why am I in this family? And why am I in this city? I was just, why don't I live across the street with the Japanese people? It just was kind of curious to me as to how did this was it random? And that curiosity had me study different religions, because I was aware that different religions had different philosophies and rules. And it made me study astrology and many different things. In my mid-30s, I came across, which is now 30 years ago, I came across a Chinese classical Feng Shui and astrology book. And in there, it said there were 3 factors that controlled our lives: heaven, earth, and man. And I have a slide on this too. But 33% of your destiny is the destiny your soul chose to be born into this family with those parents to learn these lessons that are particular to that. 33% of your destiny is from where you live, like the garden soil. Is it rich or is it busy, or what is it? And 33% is what you do. Well, that actually made a lot of sense to me. And that philosophy is what made me start studying Chinese Feng Shui more. And I was fortunate enough to be able to take classes around the world with what was then the only English speaking teachers I could find, and then ultimately in China. And it was not my goal to become like a Feng Shui master, but through the process I did. I actually worked for 15 years after I finished, was raising my children with people with drug and alcohol problems and mental illness. And so I've always been someone who's of service. And so actually my original work at Feng Shui, and that was to actually, how can I help the homeless population more? And how can we create, you know, supported housing and those types of things, which is still a topic that's near to my heart. And so through that whole process, though, as I was doing that, I actually started to really understand how energy works as I was working, studying and working, you know, doing these things. I realized that if my energy was becoming burnt out and tired, I was contributing to the problem. That the only energy in the world ultimately that I can change is my own. And that energy is what radiates out into the world. So then if I became aware, I have to have good feng shui and I have to do everyday activities that are conscious and that I love so that I can be of the highest vibration possible. And then I can bring that out into the world. It's not about fixing other people. It's about taking our energies and working with other people. And so I loved feng shui so much that to the last 30 years, every year I've studied with different masters and read different books, and that still continues today. So here's the thing, change your perspective. Everything that happens to you is an opportunity. Because you have to, and that's actually how energy works. Because if you're thinking you're a victim, you are in a contracted state that is preventing new energy from coming in. You actually need to look at it and it's like, okay, with curiosity. So I'm not saying love what's going on. That's way too big a leap. It's too hard to say, oh, I love this. No, you may not love what's going on in the world. But you can be observant and curious as to see, well, why did, and the question to ask is, why did I choose this? Okay, because on some level, your soul chose this situation so that it could learn to choose differently. We chose the moment we're born, we chose the parents we're born to, and we are in timing. We are conscious beings who can then work with this timing to become the best that we can be. Is everybody meant to be a millionaire or a billionaire? No. But that doesn't mean you're happy. We're meant to actually be happy. And that's the question, is how in this situation, what do I need to change, or how do I make this so that I can find happiness within me? Maybe you need to change where you live. Maybe you need to change your work. Maybe you need to change how you eat. So because the foods we eat affect how we feel. Like there's a lot of things. But if you start looking at everything as an opportunity, see, energy is always changing. And that's actually one of the biggest things with this as well, is if you're resistant to change, life is hard. Because that's just not how life works. Life is a cycle from birth to death where we go through many contractions. And what Feng Shui teaches us through the cycle of yin and yang and the 5 elements is how energy flows. Are we in a cycle of expansion or are we in a cycle of contraction? Like, where are we? So the concept of luck, like how can we create luck? Well, the first question is, how's your life, right? Like, do opportunities come to you? Are you struggling with health or relationship issues? Do you have lack of meaning or purpose? And how is your financial situations? Those are questions you need to ask to sort of go, well, where am I? And how can I improve my luck? Like, what do I have to do, right? And so the influences of our luck, as I was saying, heaven, man, and earth. So heaven is what we were born with, and we cannot change that. But we can learn to understand that. That's our astrology blueprint. That's and we're going to talk a little bit, are you an ox or a rooster, which sounds really trivial, but those actually all represent different types of energies. And so if you understand what type of energy you are, you can understand your potential, you can understand your capacity, you can understand what's the best action to do right now. Like, is it spring? Should I be growing? Like, we have cycles as well that don't naturally follow Earth's cycles of the seasons. They follow our own cycles, if you will. And so Chinese astrology, which is thousands of years old, and Western astrology and all that, has been used by people for centuries and centuries as a tool to understand where we're at and how to work with time. And a lot of this we do naturally. It's winter right now, right? And so we have the heat on. Well, it's winter here in Canada, you know, so I have the heat on and I have more light on and I'm eating soups and stews, you know, and foods that need cooking. Those are natural ways that we respond to cycles of time. Well, what if you actually knew, oh, this is a great cycle for me to make money, or this is a great cycle for me to, you know, go to school, right? Like that, you can expand on that. How do we respond to that? That's what we can control, our thoughts and actions. And earth, we can modify with Feng Shui. Now, Feng Shui is a huge topic. There's two types of energy in Feng Shui. There's what you see and what you can't see. And so what you see is actually, there's a saying, 70% of the energy of any home is determined by location. So it's not what's inside the walls, it's actually what's outside the walls that determines the energy of your space. And so here in Vancouver, if you take your home and you're on the North Shore Mountains, it has a very different energy than if you take that same home and you put it right next to the water or you put it downtown, right? It's not the inside part. And magnetic energy also influences us. North has a different energy than south. And so Feng Shui is actually quite a scientific study where we look at direction and location and higher ground and lower ground and put a whole bunch of different layers of formulas, if you will, or guidelines to determine what's best for us. But I'm going to teach you some basic Feng Shui today with the New Year's rituals that everybody can do just to get ready and shake it up, okay? And so, you know, there we go, hang on. Everything, every single thing in the world has an energy signature or blueprint. People, time, and the physical environment. And magic happens when we are in alignment with space and time. Then there is flow. Life is easier. Now, I mean, the good news is even if you have what we call a hard year, you can make luck happen, because I will say to people, oh, you're going to work harder for less results this year, right? But you can still have really good results by just putting in more effort, right? And then there's times without even any effort, opportunities just flow to you. Well, it is really helpful in our state of mind if we actually understand what type of effort we need to put into something in order to grow, because then you don't take it personally. There's such a tendency to think, oh, I tried hard and nothing's happening. Well, maybe you're just not in alignment with the flow, right? And that's why predictions, we can still work with them to create our own results, but it's helpful to know what is the probability. I like to use the analogy of, do I need an umbrella? Is it going to rain this year? You know, like what's the weather like? And then I'm prepared, you know? So the forces of our life are what we call heaven, man, and earth. And it is the interaction between heaven, earth, and human chi that governs and shapes our life and destiny. And it's just so important. Then actually, one of the ways you can just improve your energy is by going out in nature. Every single thing that is tangible in our lives comes from the earth. And so by doing some grounding and being outside and opening those meridian spots in your body, very important things to do. That's a human action. So here's the thing. I might tell you, this is the animal that's the luckiest animal this year. Well, you still need to go do something to take an action for things to change. To get a good prediction or to do Feng Shui and not act, you will likely feel good, but you will get little results. And so this goes back to what I was saying is, what do you want? All right. And so regardless that you still have, you know, we have till February 12th, but even as you start to clean your house, right, and start to get ready for the new energies, have an intention of what you're bringing in, because energy follows thought. Right? Energy follows thought. So then as you're looking at stuff, now in quantum physics, no two things can occupy the same space at the same time. And so as you look at things and go, is this part of my future? Is this what I need to be part of my intentions? Like if you're wanting new energy to come in, you have to make room, right? And so then you can look at, are these, how many memories of the past do you need to keep? How, you know, is this blocking you? Like these are questions that you have to ask yourself as you start cleaning and clearing your place. Then you go with where are you at and what do you have? Like not just stuff. This is actually like you want to grow your business. It's like, okay, what do I need to do? Or, you know, I want to go dating. Okay, what do I need to do? So let's create an action plan. And then our tools, the tools in Chinese metaphysics are astrology, feng shui, and then of course, universal laws, like how what you give as above, so below, like how as within, so without. And I'm not going to get into a lot of that today, but we're all governed by these types of rules, if you will, in this universe. Okay, now, Chinese Lunar New Year, February 12th, 2021. Okay, yeah, let's open to possibilities for sure. Okay, today, Chinese New Year is the most widely celebrated festival of the Chinese calendar. 1 in 6 people will celebrate this. In China, it is known as the Spring Festival, heralding the start of a new cycle, both in the earth and in human affairs. There are many customs and traditions associated with this occasion. While some may seem odd to us in the West, they are steeped in ancient logic and custom, maybe some not so logical, you know, you will see. But in a nutshell, everything associated with New Year's Day should represent good fortune. So they say, be careful with your actions, be selective what you eat, be mindful of what you say on this day to ensure good fortune. It is especially auspicious to be with the people you love and who bring you joy. For single people, good fortune may mean love and for romance. For other people, good fortune might mean good grades at school, right? Increased prosperity, a job, better health, or just simple improvement in the relationships we have. As you prepare for this holiday, think of the changes that you want to make in your life, and then let the power of the new moon, the new year, make them happen. So the days leading up to Chinese New Year are very busy with preparation. The countdown begins already this year on February 4th. Okay, and so we're gonna go through these, which is the kitchen god ritual. The following days are then very busy with settling old debts, buying new clothes, getting new shoes, getting a haircut, you know, cleaning house, enjoying dinner with friends. Now I understand with COVID, perhaps now this year, I already have some dates online for dinner with people throughout this time because we just won't be able to get together in person, right? Giving out lucky red packets, preparing traditional foods, and the lucky slogans and images, okay? So let's just get into some of these different ones. Okay, so where did all these rituals originate? I actually don't know if I know all of that, but there's the legend of Nian has it that thousands of years ago, there was this monster called Nian, and every first day of the year, this beast would awaken and terrorize the people in the village, causing people to live in fear. The villagers started to use loud noises and color red and bright lights to scare the monster away. The color red and noise was what it hated most. And so then by doing that, the monster never returned. So because of that, that's the story of how on Chinese New Year's Eve, there's firecrackers and, you know, red noise and all those types of things, which is a custom that, okay, so this is just one of the stories about how that was created. In the Chinese Zodiac, though, there are many legends and mythologies related to the Chinese New Year's. And why are there only 12 animals? And every year it's a different animal. And, you know, and the cycles are basically, I think actually a lot of the stories that came up were, the ancients could see that Jupiter had a pattern of 12, like pretty much 1 year in a sign. Like there's some similarities between Western and Chinese astrology. And then I think myths came up that they just sort of created to help the people understand a little bit more of what was going on. There's a funny story about the rat is considered the first animal of the year. And now this year will be the year of the ox, which is the second animal of the year. And with the rat being like 2020, the year of the rat, if you followed me throughout that year, you heard me talk a lot about how it's a new beginning. We were at 0 degrees on the compass, and because there's 5 types of rat. This cycle is 60. There's a metal rat, an earth rat, a water rat, a wood rat, and a fire rat. Same with the ox. There's 5 kinds of ox. We are now in the metal ox. So why is the rat considered the first animal of the zodiac? I guess they had this race, right? They had the great race story. And this is the most widespread Chinese zodiac legend. The Jade Emperor ordered that the animals be designated as calendar signs, and he picked 12, okay? And on that day, the rat got up very early and he rushed to the gathering site. And on the way, he encountered the ox that apparently could run faster than the rat. So in order to not fall behind, he thought up a good idea, and he asked the ox to carry him on the condition that he would sing for the ox while the ox was running. And so they actually arrived first. And so the ox was happily thinking he was going to be the first of the signs, but the rat quickly jumped off his back and was the first one to win the race. And so that's actually the story of how the rat became the first. Who knows? Is this kind of cute? Okay, there's a whole bunch of rituals, and I'm going to go through the traditional ones, and then I'm going to go through the shorter version. So if you actually want to be really strict and follow the traditionals according to the Chinese calendar, okay, the first one is the kitchen god ritual, and I'm going to explain which each one is. And then typically then on the 5th, the house cleaning would begin. And then traditionally there would be making a bean curd day, a buying a meat day, a shopping and bathing day, making steamed bread day, a worship the ancestors day, all to get ready for New Year's Eve. I mean, it was a big deal. Now, I've thought about Chinese New Year's a lot. I think part of the reason that there's such a ritual around this whole thing is if you actually think about it, the farmers had grown their crops, they had all this money kind of thing, and now they've got time on their hands. Well, what happens when you've got time on your hands and money? Usually you're drinking too much, you're eating too much, and you might start fooling around with the neighbor's wife. And so by creating these rituals to keep people, because bored people get into trouble, they created these rituals so that people could honor being in a family, that would keep them busy, that there were all good things. And so my own thought actually about Christmas and some of these different rituals was just as an emperor thinking, how can I keep peace in my country, right? And so it's just a way to make use of the timing of the cycles. Okay, all right. So the kitchen god ritual is a curious one. So apparently, I don't know if you've been in some different houses, you may or may not seen it, and you see this image in the kitchen posted somewhere, and he's put there for the whole year. And the idea is on this day, he goes back up to the Jade Emperor in the skies, and he reports, was this family good or bad this year, right? Like, what did they do? And so on February 4th at dinner or sometime during that day, people, they will actually, some will put honey on his mouth, some will give him candies, some will, put some different things. But the whole idea, even about putting honey on his mouth, is so that when he goes to heaven, he says sweet things, right? Like there's this idea that he'll say sweet things. So at dinner this night, they will take down this paper drawing, and you may have seen this in Chinatowns, and they'll burn it, and then they'll put up a new one. That's the idea of the kitchen god ritual, right? And so he's just there in place. The kitchen, and if he says good things, then the Jade Emperor, this is for sure superstitious, right? But I mean, it's fun. Like, it's like I used to say the same things to get my kids right before Christmas. Santa's listening. Are you being good? You better be good because Santa can see you, and that would make them, with a 6-year-old, it would work for a while. This, though, is an important ritual. Cleaning your house. This is like quantum physics. No two things can occupy the same space. And I'm actually giving you some specific dates that are good for house cleaning that are separate actually from this date if you really want to get into date selection and doing good days. My mom was Dutch, so cleaning was a serious business. right? Like we washed the walls every year. We took down the curtains and washed the curtains. We took the mattresses and put them outside, and we would beat the mattresses. We would shake out the carpets. And I remember how clean the house felt. I remember coming home from school and I could feel the energy in the house, and it would last for months. Now, who does this anymore, right? That type of cleaning. But if you really want to shift the energy in your life, sometime do a massive clean, all right? And I actually was listening yesterday to some of my Chinese consultant friends, and they take this so seriously that they actually go around the whole house. They will clean the yang rooms first, the bathrooms are last, and the kitchens and bathrooms are last, right? But they will actually, they get rid of what they're not using, they clean the fridge, they fill up the fridge with food that will take them into the new year. Like the whole idea is setting up, you want on New Year's Day that you have cupboards full of food, with the idea that that's a setting the tone that you have abundance, right? Going into the year. Now note, very few modern families follow these traditions anymore. But I think there's something to be said about, especially in your bedroom, you know, places where you spend a lot of time, doing a good clean, you know, and maybe getting some new pillows and getting, I don't know, some new bedding or things like that, because you are setting an intention for the year, right? What do you want? And you know, energy is very sticky, right? Like when you, you know, if you work in a hospital or places where the energy is like that, you need to go home and have a shower to get that energy off of you. You know, have you ever hung around people that are depressing and you come home and it's like, I got to change my clothes. Like it gets in your clothes. Well, imagine if you're depressed, how much energy does your mattress have in it? Right? So putting it out in sunshine, and now this might not be the right time of year to do it, but at some point, getting somebody to help you really just clear that out is a good idea. Sunshine will kill bacteria in 3 hours, right? Like, but it has a huge effect. So really consider doing some of those things. So the idea is before Chinese New Year's to give your home a thorough spring clean, decorate your home with auspicious symbols, decorate with bright red. The Chinese like red because it is yang and it represents the element of fire, and fire transforms everything it touches. That's why they use red, okay? So if you don't like red, you have to use what's symbolic to you, right? Like I'm not saying go to Chinatown and buy symbols of that. If the Chinese symbols mean nothing to you, don't use them, but use symbols for you that represent growth, that represent happiness, right? And so decorate with some symbols that represent growth. Get fresh flowers. You'll notice in the flower markets, especially here in Vancouver, there's orchids and plum and cherry and peach blossoms available everywhere for sale. These are all considered particularly lucky. Why? Because they represent future fruit, right? And so that's why plum and cherry blossoms and that represent are more auspicious than say just an orchid, because it actually represents future food. And even with the foods, I've got a whole thing here on the food. They like foods that have seeds in it because seeds represent future multiple harvests, right? So yeah, you'll see here in Vancouver, lots of houses putting up red banners on their front door with lucky symbols, you know, and then of course, get your hair cut or buy new clothes, preferably. These are all fun. I actually think the most important thing is to clean your house. That's the most important thing. And the rest is actually intentionally, how do you greet the energy of the new year? What does that look like for you? What do you need to do to be honorable? Because what you honor, when you put an energy into it, the universe will reward you. It's like if you don't think of your life as an antenna, like a radio dish, you know, what you put out is a signal. And so then it's like, oh, she's asking and she's trying. Oh, we're going to give some back, right? It's just that simple. Here's some other important things. Take care of unfinished business. Pay up old bills and begin as much as possible with a clean slate. Don't start the year laden with debt. Clear up disputes and arguments, starting the new year moving forward. and prepare food or buy food. New Year's Day is not a day for work. Actually, the Chinese used to take like 2 weeks off. Now the minimum this year for people that are observing this is 3 days that they actually don't work, and that they eat. And then it's not just about eating, it's about actually going and visiting the people in your life and the grave sites of people that are important to you, and honoring and celebrating with them. Okay, so Chinese, ideally New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, they say is best for vegetarian, but I mean, it doesn't really, and here it says, okay, New Year's Day is ideally vegetarian. New Year's Eve, you're allowed fish, abundance, long grain rice, long life, oysters. Here's some of the symbols of all the foods. Oysters representing prosperous business and good things. Peaches, longevity. Pineapple, prosperity. Pomegranates, children. Sticky rice balls represent gold. Noodles, do not cut them, they're longevity. Chinese New Year's special cakes that look like golden nuggets. Persimmons, happiness and wealth. Tangerines with leaves. Have you noticed that all the oranges, or a lot of the oranges these days, have the leaves attached to them? Long-lasting relationships, fruitful and multiply. Trays of candy representing sweetness and togetherness. Okay. So on Chinese New Year's Eve, get together with close family for a reunion dinner, or, you know, at least book a Zoom meeting, right? Eat dinner together on Zoom. Pay respect to ancestors, including household gods, acknowledging the ancestors as they are responsible for future generations. Firecrackers at midnight. And if you're not into firecrackers, I mean, I'm glad in my neighborhood there's not a ton of that at midnight, but open the windows and the doors, like especially on New Year's Day, because you are letting out the old and bringing in the new. And the more noise and merrymaking, or, you know, commotion you can make, the more you get that energy flowing, right? And on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, watch the words you use. Use sweet words, avoid foul language, talk about future and dreams, and focus on positive thoughts. Like that's consciously setting the intention for your year, right? Now, typical things that have been done on New Year's Day is making offerings to household deities. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Wearing new clothes, hosting a large banquet, and then later, maybe not on that day, but here in Vancouver, we have we have a Chinese parade, a New Year's parade, and there's lion dances and dragon dances. And if you're in any of the malls here, stores pay for the lion to come in, and they've got lettuce in their mouth, and they're doing offerings and different things, those lion dances. And children get the lucky money packets. And the lucky money packets, the red envelopes, those are given typically to unmarried children from the parents and the aunts and uncles and that. But it's also very common in China and Hong Kong for people to get a bonus this time of year as well, who work in companies, that this is just a time of sharing, right? It's a time of sharing and giving. And so lucky packets would be given not only to children, they would be given to employees and things as well. So yeah, the word gong hei fat choi apparently is congratulations, your wealth increases. Okay, and so here's a summary. Wear new bright colored clothes, or your appearance and attitude is believed to set a tone for the year. Your first taste should be something sweet, and greet everyone with kind words and happy wishes. You know, wouldn't that actually though be lovely if we took that a step further and just did that all year round? Right? Like, wouldn't the world just be a better place if we greeted people with actually, hello, how are you, with a little bit of kindness, right? And just connection, you know, like if people feel connected, then they don't feel they need to fight, you know, like it's a whole different energy. Anyways, greet people with kind words and happy wishes. Do not be part of the problem. Do not curse or gossip. Don't complain, you know, There's a thing too, never tell anybody something that has no ability to solve the problem. Then it's gossip, right? Like if you're just saying something to somebody who has no ability to help you, why? You're just spreading negative energy. And negative energy, it's hard to turn this around, you know? And so think about that. The focus is on the future in a positive way. 33% of our destiny is from our actions, right? That's a lot. You can have what's called a lousy chart and create a good life by just learning how to control your thoughts and actions. Keep the doors and windows open. Oh, they say, so this gets, you know, some people get so uptight about New Year's Day. Don't have a shower, don't sweep or cut, don't even do the dishes because you don't want to wash anything away. I do not adhere to that point, right? The idea though is this is a day of celebration and paying respect to the ancestors. And ideally, you know, it's ideally if you can not work for a couple days. Give offerings to the gods of wealth, happiness, and longevity. I'm going to give you a very brief way to do that, but just create a place in your home with flowers and beautiful things as an altar and a symbol of what you are grateful for. Yes, and then give the money, lycee red envelopes with money enclosed to each unmarried child. And then they actually say you should give them 2 envelopes because happiness always comes in 2s. Keep the windows and doors open. Yeah, don't sweep or cut. Yes, okay. And then there is tradition. So Chinese New Year's is on the new moon. On the 50th, there's actually, if you want to Google it, there's like 14 days of to-dos as to which relative you visit on which day and what food you eat and which temple you go to and et cetera, et cetera. The Chinese Lantern Festival, though, is a fun one. And here in Vancouver, many people are familiar with the Chinese Lantern Festival. If you've got kids in elementary school, a lot of the schools will do things like lanterns and that. But this is the Chinese version of Valentine's Day. So now we've gone from the new moon, this is the full moon, okay? And this year it's on February 26th. And the lanterns would be hung to symbolize the light and warmth of spring. And the other thing too is the energy 2 weeks leading to this February 12th and 2 weeks after, astrologically is considered to be the most unstable energy of the year. It is like the tide is coming out, the old year is leaving, and the new year is coming, and none of them are set. So new businesses would not get started. Typically, people would not get married during that time. Every single space shuttle disaster happened in that 2-week period, those time periods, right around that. It's just astrologically, it's just a very unstable energy. And so on the full moon, then it's like the energy has shifted and now we're more into the new year. And so one of the traditions is that single people would go down to the river on this day and put not only lanterns with intentions to float off in the river, they would make these paper lanterns with tea lights. They would also throw oranges into the river as an offering to find a good husband or to find romance or to find different things. And it was just considered part of this whole thing. It is considered that on this day, the god of destiny rises up from the rivers to fulfill desires, and that the goddess of the sea is ready to accept wishes. So with the whole lantern thing, even if you don't throw oranges into the river, I think it's a good idea that the wishes you've made for that year, that you could burn them. You could go outside and just burn them. You could do a ritual of have you ever done those types of rituals where you write down what you want and you burn them and you send them up to heaven? You let go of what you don't want, right? And so this is just a really good day to do this on, okay? So single women would go to the river and throw mandarin oranges in. Different thing. Red dates were thrown in, pebbles for wanting a new house. It's fun, right? Just okay, so the summary of the do's: clean your house, get some new clothes, stay up late on New Year's to wish for longevity for your parents, greet everyone with a smile, prepare a whole bunch of mandarin oranges for your visits, because traditionally when you visit people, you would give them oranges. and as much as possible, clean up your financial situation before Chinese New Year. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean paying everything off, okay, because that's not feasible. People have mortgages and car loans and things like that. But maybe it means taking a really good written look at where you're at and what you need to do so that you actually have a conscious path moving forward. And if there's people you need to talk to or a to-do list of things that you need to do, that's all taken care of, okay? All right, I have some dates for you besides the one I just gave you for good days for starting spring cleaning, okay? And so some of you are students here and, you know, and it doesn't matter. You can start cleaning on any day, but if you want to make the whole ritual of removing energy, perhaps have just a little bit better energy, tomorrow is a good day to start. And even if you just start, okay? The only thing is if you are born in the year of the monkey, it's not a good day for you. And anywhere between 9:30 and 6 p.m. tomorrow, it's a remove day, start cleaning, right? Just start cleaning your house, like start the process. You can finish later, but say you just start it. If you can't do tomorrow, the other one is January 25th. It clashes if you're a rabbit, and start between 8 and 10. Doesn't mean stop, but it means to start during that time. January 27th is a good start day, January 30th and January 31st. There you have 5 particular different days that are good days to start your spring cleaning, right? And I already have, I started already a couple of weeks ago with different things, and I've got a car full of stuff now that I got to figure out where do I take it to, you know, as I just make room for new energy to come into my life, you know. And for those of you that might actually do the, this is actually, okay, so on February 12th, see, this is not, there's 2 times here. On February 12th, either between 12 and 3 a.m. or between 3 and 4 a.m. This is actually, that's not so feasible if you stayed up all night, or at lunchtime, okay? And this is actually, I suggest actually, if you want to really do this, you Google how to bring in the God of happiness. But there's a thing about facing each of these directions. This is more for students, that you face a specific direction and you do your prayer and maybe light a candle or something like that on your altar, you know, or different things like that. You know, this is more than I actually do. I will just set up an altar somewhere in my house, but I put these dates for you if you are someone who actually does usher in the gods. And then there's this other aspect, one other one here, of auspicious dates to return to work. So say you are actually in a position that you're able to stop working February 12th on New Year's Eve, and then these are the days that they say is the best time to start back to work if you can actually do that. I tell you myself, I've never been able to do that. I get too many emails and I'm too small a group, but I won't be doing any consultations during that time. I'll answer emails and I'll do stuff like that, right? And so these are just dates and start times for people who, you know, actually take very seriously that whole, you know, and it'd be really interesting if I actually did do that sometime as these things, because maybe I'd have a year where I don't work so hard. You know, who knows, right? Like exactly what is the effect? So that takes us to the end of the Chinese getting ready rituals that I'm going to be buying a fridge, buying or preparing the foods I want to eat that day. I'm going to be cleaning. I'm actually going to have my son come in and help me clean my house, even, you know, like on a good deep clean. And I've got my intentions written, but I'm going to actually spend a little bit more time getting clearer on my intentions, you know, and make 2021 a good year. You know, we can make it happen. All right. Global and personal predictions, you know. And so where do predictions come from, right? And so the ancient scholars watched the stars, and they watched the planets and they watched the stars. I mean, we've heard things about the star, you know, like when Jesus was born, there was a star in the sky that told them that something extraordinary had happened, right? And so the ancient scholars, whether it's from Egyptians or whether it's the Chinese, they saw that the patterns in the sky actually told them about things that were happening on Earth. And from that, the calendars came and the different ways of devising it. But they saw that these cycles had patterns, and that by following these patterns, probabilities existed, right? And so, yeah, that's where global and personal predictions come from the planets and from the calendars. And so 2021 is the year of the metal ox. And so from that, there's a calendar that we look at that it tells us how they interact and what they're happening together as to possibilities. I don't want to get a lot into actually all of that because it's too, actually, if you want to have a deeper, I did a presentation on December 13th online that you can now buy as an online course, and it's a full day course that we did that goes through the predictions, and it goes more in depth with each of the 12 animals and the signs, and it actually also gives you the Feng Shui remedies in depth. And so you'll be, Lois will probably put the link out in the chat here, but you'll be getting, it'll be up on Facebook and things like that too. You can actually buy on my website that whole one course. Okay, let me close that. Whoops. Okay. So good luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Good luck is taking the right action at the right time. It's like, oh, I need to use an umbrella. Is that good luck? No, it's just you were, you know, it's like you had a sense it might rain. And bad luck is no matter what kind of cycle you're in, you are actually not part of the solution. You are lazy, you are a complainer, you are waiting, you are pessimistic, and just not doing things to change or improve yourself. And I know that that can be hard because we get attached to the dream, right? Like we start a business, like I said, I had to tell a couple of people this week that they might need to walk away from their businesses because they're just losing too much money, but they're stuck in the dream. But, you know, it was going to be big. It was going to be this. Well, you need to grieve that then, right? And move on. And so bad luck is being stuck, I believe. And good luck is when you can actually take a really deep breath, express the emotions of what you're feeling. And for many people, COVID has been part of that as well. It's been revealing to us in 2020 what needs to be changed in order to have a better life. Because sometimes it's not just about having more money. Sometimes it's about doing differently what you're doing, okay? And so in Chinese astrology, the predictions for the year are based on the solar calendar. And this is the calendar of the moment where the chi changes with that, February 3rd, 2021 at 23:20. And so it's the year of the metal ox, the month of the metal tiger, the day of the water horse, and the hour of the water rat. And yes, I know if you are experienced students, there's been some conflict as to what's the accurate hour, but I am using what's in the classic Tong Shu. And so how we read a chart in Chinese astrology is we find what's called the day master. And each of us has what's called a self element. And that's the top part of the day. You might go, oh, I was born in the year of the ox, but actually who you really are is determined by the day. And in this case, this person or this day is the ocean, and all the surrounding elements tell a story of how that interacts. And it tells a story of some elements represent wealth, some elements represent clashing, some elements represent harmonies and different things. And each of our charts is read that way, and the year energy is read that way as well. And so for predictions, personally, the most basic predictions start with, oh, it's the year of the ox. How does that interact with my chart, right? And who am I? And for this purpose, because like I'm not able to go into depth of reading your whole chart, you can always book a reading with me, and many of you here on this call have, right? But now we're going to just look at if you have ox in your chart anywhere, right? What does that mean for you? Or if you have tiger in your chart or horse, I'm going to go through the 12 different animals for you. So there's 12 different animal signs. There's the rat, the ox, the tiger, the rabbit, the dragon, the snake, the horse, the goat, the monkey, the rooster, the dog, and the pig. And each of those animals represents a type of chi. And the inside the ox is yin earth, yin water, and yin metal. Not that it matters, but each element represents, each animal represents 1 to 3 different types of chi. And that chi is like, it's energy. It's just a type of energy, just like north has a different type of energy than south. It's energy. And our energy blueprints interact with the yearly energies in different ways. And so for some of us, it could mean wealth. For some of us, it could mean potential for relationships. I mean, many, many different things. To really be accurate too, I need you to take this with a grain of salt, because to just look at the year and determine your luck is not accurate enough, all right? In our charts though, there are 4 pillars: the year, the month, the day, and the hour. And where the animals are in your chart represent different types of opportunities. And so some of the most basic ones are the animals in your month and year represent your life outside of your home. So that would be mostly career or extended family and that type of thing. Whereas your day and hour are personal to you, and it is like your home, your spouse, your relationships, and your secret desires and your children. And so the elements there tell us year to year what kind of things are going on in the different aspects of our life. So if you have ox in your chart anywhere, but if you haven't, it's like success is up to you, but is the saying, but a little bit, we say it's not always a good year when it's your year, because it's like the spotlight of the universe is looking at you. And that's a lot of pressure, right? It's a lot of energy looking at you. And so if you can handle the pressure, you and stand up to it and actually do something that can be seen, you will do well. And not only just with the elements, there's certain influence that we call stars. And I have only put up the positive stars here. There's actually a whole bunch of different stars that influence each of the different animal signs. And this is, like I said, just a very generalized looking at the animals. But the ox has potential to be recognized for something, okay, by the stars and by the elements. And so learn something new. Luck was, the rat year should have been a good year for you because the rat is very good friends. And so 2020 should have been good. And now you should be able to continue that and make hay sort of thing while the sun shines. However, it's going to be with more pressure. The spotlight's on you. Everything you do is visible. Bear that in mind. There are opportunities to be found, but you have to be nice. Because if you're not nice, you will be passed over. That's actually one of the things that comes with the spotlight being on you, is everything you do, grumpy or not grumpy, will be visible. Okay. Now, for instance, if you have ox on your day, in your relationship, you're going to have to just be a little bit nicer because there's pressure happening. Okay. So part of your lesson this year is develop a good attitude. You might be attracting some petty people and some misunderstandings. Avoid activities that are uncomfortable. Let's put it at that. The tiger has the sun star with it, and then a sign called red matchmaker. The sun star is a very powerful star, and so there's a lot of luck coming for you if you have tiger in your chart. The sun star means people are there to help you, nobleman energy. It is a good news energy. So if you have tiger in your chart, particularly in the year or the month, and you want to grow in your career, it's an excellent sign that you can make things happen. This is a time to be seen, a time to polish your brand, a time to work hard to, because people will help you. The efforts you put out there, you will get results in. The red matchmaker as well is a peach blossom star, meaning people will be attracted to you, right? And so single tigers, if you have this in your day or hour, you could meet someone, right? And it's just overall, the sun star is a really good protective energy. It's like you're protected. You know, the universe is kind of looking after you. So lovely energy. The rabbit. You know, the rabbit is going to have to work to make luck this year. The sky bright, it's a minor star. It does show some positive benefits, but there's more energy out there where this is a year to regroup and rethink and really actually lay low and figure out where, because the following year will be much better. But it's like, really figure out, what are your goals? This is a year where you make your luck. And so if you make your luck, that's really something important. All the activities you do are either making you have more luck or less luck. And so might be a year to exercise more, might be a year to indulge less, practice integrity. Anything that you practice that has a good moral value, you will get more of. Anything that you practice that does not, you will get more of, right? That's kind of the energy of the rabbit this year. Nurture yourself, but also work hard. And I would say be at work, just lay low, in the sense of, it's not the year to rock the boat or to try and make big changes or create, because you won't be as supported as you'd like to be. So it's more a year to really figure out. And this is also not a year to throw away the baby with the bathwater. And by that, I mean, because you might get feeling impatient and you might get feeling frustrated, but this is not the year to make great big changes. It's actually the year to be observant throughout the whole year and find new ways to move forward, that you can prepare yourself, you can learn something new, so that you are better for 2022 and you are ready when more opportunities start coming your way. The dragon, you're going to have more energy, and the moon will bring you a greater intuition and problem solving energy. Females will be more helpful to you. And as long as there's an energy of the dragon that combines with the ox, that as long as you're careful with your communications, in that, be clear, because people might disappoint you. So as long as you're clear in outcomes and what you're wanting, I think you will do fine. It's a really good year to pick up some new metaphysical or spiritual knowledge, because you're just going to have more of a connection to that type of thing. Your intuition will be higher, but also sometimes with intuition comes suspicion and nervousness a bit. So it's like, and I think the dragon is already a really patient type of energy. It's just a year to be patient and practice some solitude. And actually, you probably will want more solitude than actually being in a lot of group activities. But yeah, so that you have balance in your life. But you will overall find that throughout the year, you will have more ups than downs. And again, if you need help, your first luck will come more from females this year than males. The snake. The snake is friends with the ox, and it has the jade hall, the dragon pool, and the national treasure. National treasure is a good money star. So there's some good energies there about making money, and opportunities should also flow your way. Assets should grow. Yeah, I think overall, you'll find that this is a good year for you. Use competition as motivation, right? Because you should be able to come out ahead in all the things you do. You should have a steady flow of income if you're in sales. Any type of, by working hard and putting in energy, you should see promotions or results come. It's like really overall, it's a year where if you put in really good efforts, you will see good results. Every part of your life should do better this year. It's not like super lucky, but it is lucky, okay? The horse. The horse is coming out. 2020 was a chaotic year because the rat and the horse clash. And so it would have been unexpected things. Now we could say for many people, we've had unexpected things happening in the rat year, but the horse particularly just, had a little bit more of things just didn't flow as smoothly as you would like. And the ox here is better. But still, what's happening is now you're on an upward trend getting ready for 2022. 2022 is going to be the year where you really have more luck come together for you and things like that. But you have this peach blossom star. People are going to be attracted to you and are going to like you. If you're single, it's a good year to go meet someone. But if you're in sales, people will be attracted to you as well, and that type of a thing. you have the ability with all these stars to turn situations in your favor. The only thing there where I have the word emotional harm, what that means is depending on where it is in your chart, if it's in the month and year, it'll be more work or, like I said, extended family focus. And if it's on the day and the hour, in your personal life, you might be let down in your expectations. And so remember how I said at the very beginning, everything is an opportunity. And so nothing happens to you that isn't an opportunity. And so anything that happens is actually a sign. Where in your life do you need to do things differently? What is it reflecting for me? So if you're having communication issues or people are letting you down, the first question to actually ask is, where am I letting myself down? Or where am I not communicating clearly? And then so that might be, you've said you're going to exercise, you said you're going to take care of yourself, or you said you're going to do these things. If you're not doing the things that you said to yourself that you're going to do, that'll get reflected to you and the people around you. That's the type of year it is. And that actually is not a curse. It's actually for you a bit of in a way, it brings up where you need to make some course corrections. And so you have lots of positive stars to support you to do those things. So this is the year to get on top of your health and to get on top of the values that you have and sometimes don't always act on. The goat, year breaker and bully penalty, along with earth relief and month emptiness. Now the goat clashes the ox. I've written down here, get ready for some excitement. Peace-loving goats may find this a challenge. But you have the earth relief star, means you can turn any challenges into positive events. But what is for sure is you will have some challenges this year. And the types of challenges you will have, to a degree, you can control this because it's where in your life do you have unfinished business. What you have not been dealing with in the past or in your life will come up for you to look at and to deal with. And so again, depending on where it is in your chart, that's where it'll show up. So this is the year to really cultivate self-awareness and to be a good listener. I think that there might be some more anger and frustration on your part, the fire inside of you coming out in wanting to deal with things, but anger is not always the best way. And so it's like, okay, how do I exercise, I think, is a really important thing for you this year so that you can be calm when you do have to deal with situations. Yeah, and it's a good year to be on a budget. The bully penalty. What's the bully penalty? Well, the bully penalty means you're going to feel some pressure with people telling you what to do. And it might mean like you just have more responsibilities. It could mean you have a parent in a nursing home that it's not like they're telling you what to do, but there's these added responsibilities. You feel a little bit like your back is against the wall and pressures. Every single sign, though, that happens to a person, like these influences that happen in our lives, are two-way streets. And so where you're feeling pressure, it's about actually taking the time out then to create some balance in your life, right? And maybe spending a little bit less time on your phone and a little bit more time on, taking care of your own self as well as everybody else. That's actually what I think is one of the important things with this. Take care of yourself, but be kind. The monkey has excellent stars this year, and great. It's one of the best animals. The Emperor star, the Dragon Virtue, and Sky Happiness are particularly strong stars as well. So you should be able to network. You should be able to attract people to help you. You will have more career opportunities on. And here's the thing, you guys. You may not have good luck. Go find someone who has good luck. Look at the charts of other people and associate with people that have good stars in their chart. That's, I shouldn't say that's easy, but if you have different employees or things working for you, look and see who has better luck than others. If somebody has goat in their chart, you're going to know that this year, you know what, they're going to have, they might not be able to work as hard as I'd like them to because they've got some challenges happening. You know, I have somebody working for me who I think has 2 goats and an ox in his chart. And it's like, you know, if by knowing that, maybe I should factor into my deadlines some extra time, right? Because I actually understand that the likelihood of him being able to respond to everything on time is unlikely, you know? So anyways, the monkey, I don't think that'll be a problem. The monkey can make luck this year. And so really good year to take advantage of that and do it, because you don't always get years like this. And so you can make things happen. You can get promoted. You can, you know, I can't say for sure if you're going to make more money because I'd actually have to look at your chart all, but the opportunity for you is there for sure. And it's not specific romance stars, but you will be popular. So overall, a good year. The Rooster is another lucky star as well this year. Look at all the positive stars they have: General, Golden Luck, Relief, Sky Relief, 8 Seats, Phoenix Pavilion, and Thriving. Expect your hard work to be acknowledged with a promotion or the possibility of new career opportunities. It's a favorable year for relationships and finances. Invest in long-term stability. 2021 will be a marathon, not a sprint, but you can make stuff happen. The dog, also pretty positive stars: Fortune Virtue, Heavenly Virtue, Prosperity Star, and Pommeled Saddle. The only thing is though, the dog and the ox emotionally, like, so while there's all these opportunities out there, you're going to feel emotionally maybe just not quite as supported by your friends as you would like to. And that's not a new thing for the dog. The dog often feels that they're the one contributing more into people's relationships and that type of a thing. Well, this then might be the year to consciously decide, what am I willing to give unconditionally, so that you don't, because the second you have resentment, that's a sign that you need to clean that up. That's something inside of you that you need to clean. That's not anybody else's responsibility. That's actually your responsibility. Either you decide that what you're giving and doing is what you want to do, or you decide to change it. And it's not our job to make people like us or not like us. It's like what am I actually prepared to do? That was actually one of my big lessons in 2020 with some of my family members, is like, what am I, because I was getting resentful about a couple things, and it was like, this is what I'm prepared to do, and this isn't what I'm prepared to do. And once I actually cleaned it up and had that conversation first with myself, I actually didn't even have to have the conversation with the family member, because once I got clean, it just disappeared and took care of itself, because I no longer was a martyr or being a victim, you know, with that type of energy. And so the dog is going to have a little bit of that there, but great year to deal with it. You can do it, and you can clean all that up. The pig has Sky Horse, Bright Hall, Golden Carriage, and a seasonal. If you have pig in your chart, ox in your chart, and if you have rat in your chart, pardon me, and pig in your chart with the ox, you have a full water trio. This is overall a stable and positive year for you, especially in career and wealth. Career and wealth stars are positive, indicating a rise in status, promotion, or transfer. Fame and recognition is possible. You will get help from superiors and bosses. Now, these are minor stars. They're not huge lucky stars, but what this says is if you put in the effort, you can make things happen. There are also some negative stars that I don't have here that indicate some difficult and petty people, and that, you know, you just might, you know, you just have to, just like I just said for the dog, you have to decide what are you willing to tolerate and what not, and then just do it from kindness, right? Do it from kindness. And rat, I'm going to speed things up here a little bit, because I think we'll finish right around 12:30 my time. And then what we'll do is I'll stay on for questions, okay? So the rat. Now, the rat is good friends to the ox, okay? And so what that generally means is that the opportunities will come your way. The stars are what we would say medium type stars, but 1 or 2 of them are really good for studying. So 2021 for you is a really good year for you to learn something new and to use that to promote yourself for the future, right? Now, say you don't have a career, but you have children and you have family, then take a listening workshop, right? Take a personal growth workshop, become a better person, learn how to communicate, take a communication workshop. Those are skills, life skills that we all need. And so you don't necessarily need to learn typing or IT management or, you know, whatever, bookkeeping. There's always things we can learn to make 2021 a better year. And people who are continually growing feel happier and more satisfied in life. And so it's how many hours a day, you know, like, I don't know if you have a Mac like I do, I get told every week how many hours I spend on screen time. It's shocking, right? You take a couple hours of that screen time and devote it to something else, right? You could, like, how many of us have been in quarantine or, you know, somewhat isolated in the last year, you know, hours and hours and hours of time that we used to spend going to restaurants or going to do different things have now been diverted. Well, this is a really good time for all of you signs to actually sit here and think, if I took an hour 4 times a week, you could change your life. You could change your life. And so it's not just about, you know, what is it you need to be better at to change your life? So for me, one of the goals is yoga. Just be slowing down and being in the present and letting my body move better, I know will really improve my life, right? And I can, you know, that's one of my goals, right? Besides the work ones. The rat, yeah, so just use the energies to become better. And it's a good year to just take really good care of your health. Okay. But overall, you're going to have smooth sailing in a fortunate year. Opportunities will come your way. All right. So a better 2021 means setting goals. Okay. Now it starts with doing a personal inventory of what needs to change. Have awareness of your opportunities and take action. So many of the readings that I'm doing these days are people need to have those conversations with their partners that they haven't had. They need to have conversations with themselves around work and what they're, you know, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? And what needs to change for that, what you see in 5 to 10 years to look like what you'd like it to look like, right? And then look at all your stuff. If you're hanging on to a whole bunch of stuff because the just in case, or I paid so much money, that's a lack consciousness. That's not trusting the universe to take care of you, right? And so this is the time to make an honest inventory of where you're at and what you need to do. I want to travel. Well, that means I like to be able to close the doors to my apartment for a couple months at a time. You know, now one of the decisions this year is, well, because I thought I was going to be teaching out of my place and I'm not now. It's like, so I actually might move to a smaller place now so that I can go live in Europe for 6 months, or I can go live, because I can do this now from anywhere, right? And I could go live in South America. Those are actually where I'm headed to. It's like, so if I want to make those kinds of things happen, what do I need to have? What do I need to do or change? And I'm not exactly sure on the answers of all of that, but I want to go live in a retreat center for 2 months. I want to go live and study my ancestry. And I want to work with you guys too. And I know now I can do that. So that might mean I don't need quite as big a place in all this work of keeping that together, right? So anyways, you got to take an inventory. Then the next step is the goal is to make changes consciously that reflect your goals and desires, which means changing consciously what you're doing that's not supporting you. Okay. Empower yourself to move forward. Do you know what the definition of insanity is? Doing the same thing every day and expecting different results. Okay. So I was in workshop many, many years ago when I was actually working with the homeless people, and I was in a meeting with federal government and provincial government and a whole bunch of different layers of government. And it was so exciting because I thought we were all going to be working together and creating changes. And then everybody came together. We were asked to all go and bring our budgets to the meeting so that we could share our budgets and we could share ideas. And when we all got back to the meeting, nobody wanted to share their budget, but they wanted the money of everybody else's budget. Like they didn't want to share, they just wanted to get. And I had this huge epiphany that change, you have to change yourself if you want the world to change. That's actually, and I thought, I have to tie my shoes differently. Like it actually means doing things differently. So what's the first thing you do in the morning? Do you look at your phone? Do you let your phone decide for you how your day is going to go? Or do you actually wake up and lie there for a minute and set an intention? This is what my day is going to be like. This is what my year is going to be like. This is and what is your intention? Is your intention for peace? Then what do you do that actually brings in peace? Or if your intention is to, whatever, it's like you need to change your routine to make that happen. Right? And so I don't know what that looks like. So actually one of the biggest and best things that happened for me in 2020 was I got into a very deep Course in Miracles study, that I get to spend an hour and a half each morning going through the different Course in Miracles lessons and applying and adding that to my life. And connecting intentionally with the people who matter. That was the other thing too that I did. That was a big change. Okay, so the things that I can offer you, empowering yourself to move forward, because most of us are also looking for community, right? And so, I do the live conscious conversations each month on Facebook. I do consultations supporting you with your astrology and that. I have a beginner Batsy class starting February 1st, and it's on Monday evenings. And this is and I'm offering it to you for half price of $298, where we will be going through the 10 day masters and the 12 signs in more depth than just here today. So that you Lois?
It's $298 regularly, 50% off.
Yeah, 50% off. Yep. Thanks. So 50% off of $298 would be $150, right? So really special deal for you guys, 4 weeks, Monday night, 6:30 to 8:30. The annual in-depth Feng Shui and astrology class that I referred to you, you can buy online now and self-study it for $98. And then, okay, the big thing is how I teach a practitioner course. I teach an in-depth course. Now that used to be all in person, and now that's the Feng Shui Light for Life course is recorded and self-study online. The astrology class in depth is getting recorded and going online. And the Feng Shui Master Practitioner is now happening here in July. So if you want to come to Vancouver in July, you can do that, or it is available now to study that online. And if you want more information on the practitioner training, send me an email and we will send you the information. Pooja, no, there is no discount code. You just go to my website to the courses and it's just right there, I believe. Is that correct, Lois? No code, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there is a code. It's not on sale.
It's in the newsletter, right, that we sent out?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, my newsletter has the code. What is, can you want to post it in the chat here?
Yeah, just give me 1 sec.
Okay. All right. Anyways, that's just what I'm up to. Is just, and actually for those of you, I don't have this up here. I'm going to be doing a study course for those of you that have already studied astrology with me in the past, a 10 Gods study class. Now, if you have not studied astrology with me, you can take it as well, but the price will be different. And that's going to be starting in March. And we haven't quite decided the time, but that'll be 10 weeks, a 10 Gods class for those of you who want to go more in depth with the astrology. All right. My mission and passion and the purpose of what I do is to empower you to receive and bring positive value to your life, to affect your destiny in such a way that is meaningful in positive ways to you, and to support you so that you have the tools and support to constantly evolve in all aspects of your life, whether it's financial, relationships, and personal well-being, because together we are more. Together we are all connected. All right, that takes me to the end of my presentation. That's pretty good. I wasn't sure if I could get that in 90 minutes, and I did. Thanks, Carol. And so I'm going to stop the share, and I will take your questions. There. So actually, if you raise your hand, I think there's a raised hand function, and then I can just click on you, and we could do that if you have a, where would that raised hand thing be? I think I'll see it actually on the screen here.
It's on participants.
Okay, sorry, I missed that.
It's on the participants tab. So if you
Oh,
bring the list of
okay,
participants.
thanks, Rondeline. They're great. Oh, okay, Cecilia.
Hi, Marlena.
Hi,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay,
There you are. Oh, you've got a landscape picture. Nice.
Yeah, that was a scene from somewhere north-ish in London.
Okay.
So my question for you, and thank you, by the way, that was a really lovely kind of overview, an in-depth overview, actually, of a lot of things, even things that I don't know, even though I'm Chinese. So well done. My question is, I was wondering if the month pillar in one's chart can offer insight into, because it's month pillar has to do with the career, correct? And I was wondering if it offers any insight into like career options in terms of like specific industries or like skill sets one can leverage.
Yeah, absolutely. But that would not be, that would be in your birth chart.
Oh, okay.
Because the birth chart shows in relationship to what we call the day master, the distribution of elements. And so there's kind of two ways that we tend to go towards career. One is what is the strongest element in a chart is what we're kind of naturally drawn to. But sometimes we're also naturally drawn to what's the weakest element because we're looking for balance. And then what happens is how the yearly energy interacts with the month energy tells us whether it's going to be smooth with opportunities or a challenge or, you know, what kind of, it's like, do you need an umbrella? You know, that
Right.
type of. What animal do you have in the month, Cecilia?
I have Rooster.
Oh, yeah. Well, so then networking, yeah. So this is a really, you will see more results from networking and getting out there. Are you still doing the same thing?
Yeah, but I think in the last few years, I've been kind of questioning what else I want to do and perhaps really be more Aquarius-like and roll into like
Hey,
moving
yeah.
forward with passions versus what's, you know, very gratefully easy money and
Yeah.
yeah.
So 2 years from now will be the year of the rabbit,
Mhm.
and that will clash your rooster. So if you haven't made a career change before 2 years from now, you very likely will then.
So is it better to do that now or ahead of the clash?
Well, I need to look at your whole charts
Got it.
because it sort of depends on if you still need to earn money this year or where you're at in cash flow, right? Is it and what kind? But Rooster would indicate that there's opportunities out there for you to be able to find them, to get better job opportunities for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Pooja.
There we go. Hi, Marlena. That was a very interesting talk because it was just a different dimension. So thank you. And yeah, my question is, I have the ox and the goat in my day and hour pillar. So I have an inbuilt clash, so to say.
Yep.
So coming into the year of the ox, how does that interact now with that already existing clash?
Well, okay, so you're used to, okay, so I know a little bit about you, and you actually emailed me just before the class. Your daughter and your son-in-law are coming. So all from India, and so that's, and probably to stay with you, that'll be a clash, right? Because it's a change. It's your personal life is going to be experiencing a change. So already there it is. But because it's ox and goat, I know you're a student, and they're considered graveyard animals. This has nothing to do with real graveyard. But what's hidden in them gets revealed, and the relationship of that to your day master tells you what's going on. Does that make sense to you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll learn more in the class and
And
understand.
yeah, and so, well, yeah, some, it's like, that's more the Batsy full class that we get
Yeah.
into that, but for sure, we'll do some of that. And also, again, where are you not speaking your truth with your children because it's day and hour and husband puja is because the clash will this year be stronger, where you have to, yeah, you know, I think you often give too much. And that will be for you a decision to be more, because if you're feeling resentful, then it's not clean. Right. And so that's just something, be interesting for you to watch this year and see what comes up.
So the chances of not being able to speak my truth are higher because the clash is greater.
Well, the chances of you needing to speak your truth are greater because the
Oh.
clash is there. I would say the opposite. I think that they are going to test you.
Okay.
You know, what are the rules of your daughter and son-in-law before they come stay in your house and how they behave?
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Denise or Sharon. Yeah.
Hi, Marlena.
Hey.
That was great. I jotted down when you were talking through the horse. I jotted down peach blossom and heavenly nobleman, and I just wondered if you could perhaps expand a little bit more on what that means in the context of the horse.
Well, for the horse, there's an attractive, there's those two particular stars, the way so I know the business that you're in, you should be able to attract new clients
Right.
this year.
Right.
Right. And so good year to do some marketing, social, especially if you have it as your year animal, right? Social. So year animal would be social media marketing, like outer circle of friends types of referrals or those types of things.
Yeah.
Right. So
Okay.
it would be a good thing for you to spend a little bit more money on, or things like that, if you need to extend your reach.
And so does that sort of like match with, I've been putting quite a lot of energy into collaborating with new groups.
Yes. Yes.
Right. Right.
So, and when you're collaborating with the new groups, do you actually have a goal in mind, or is this just for fun?
Oh, no. There's a goal in mind.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that you're exactly. So with your goal in mind should grow.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else?
Cecilia.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Denise might be ahead of me. Or
That was just who spoke.
oh, sorry. I don't have that same window maximized. Yeah, I had two quick questions. Actually, one is off of Denise's about peach blossoms.
Yeah.
And then the other one was actually about how to see if one has turtle luck in their chart.
Turtle luck?
Turtle luck? I think I remember you and also Joey had talked about it at one point. I think one of the seminars that I have attended. And turtle luck meaning your ability to learn and absorb like intelligence or knowledge.
Yeah, there's different ways. I don't recall using that word, but for sure. So if you know your day master, anybody who, if metal, water, any water day master this year should be able to, in the coming year, because metal is what we call resource element to them, and it's metal ox year. If metal, that you should be able to learn and study and absorb more that way, but then the rest is through the individual stars. And I don't have that particular slide in front of me right now that says which animals have the best study luck. I think I said the rat is one of them. But in my December 13th talk, I actually went with who has the most wealth luck and who has the most romance luck, and you know, those types of things. But
Okay.
yeah, so what your day master is what?
Rat.
No, your day.
Oh, sorry, dog.
What kind of dog are you?
It says Yang Earth.
Earth dog. Okay, yeah, you're earth dog. So fire. You're so metal, because it's a year where there's a lot of metal. I think actually your ability to articulate and communicate is strong.
Okay.
you know, more so? Are you just wanting to study and learn something?
I mean, I've always kind of been that type of person, but it's just confusing because I don't want to spend like 2 minutes learning something. I want to dive into it, but then how do I find the right thing, which is kind of going along with my previous question as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a few things I'm open to learning and they're quite different from one another. So it's just kind of picking one and sticking with it for the next while. Thank you for that. And my question about peach blossoms is I'm always really confused as to how to see or read if you have one or multiple in your chart.
Okay, so the 4 peach blossom, the word peach blossom gets used in different circumstances and it gets confusing because there's peach blossom stars and there's peach blossom animals and that type of a thing. So the peach blossom animals in general are horse, rat, rooster, and rabbit. Okay, so those are called the 4 peach blossoms. And so anybody who has one of those in their chart has more, they're considered the most dynamic and charismatic of the 4 signs. Okay, so anybody who has them in their chart is already considered a little bit more charismatic and dynamic. However, if you look on the software when you print off the charts, it gives each of you one that is your particular peach blossom. The horse, the rat, the rooster, or the rabbit. If you have your particular peach blossom in the chart, it's like you take that peach blossom star and it's even stronger, right? You have, you're just, people are attracted to you, you're probably more outgoing, charismatic, whatever it is. If it's in your month and year, it affects your work. If it's in your day and hour, it affects your personal life. And so it starts getting complex. Then even further, there's stars that are like golden carriage, red matchmaker, and stars like that, which are also called peach blossom stars. And so that all, now peach blossom stars change. Some golden carriage, for instance, influences, do you find a husband who's willing to pay for things for you? Or red matchmaker, or not red matchmaker, there's some out there, salty pool, some of them are lusty. And even some of the peach blossom stars are more lusty than just, you know, romantic things. And so now we get into deeper layers.
Right.
Yeah, I hope that helped a little bit.
Oh yeah, it definitely does, because it's just,
Okay.
I was even looking just for the 4 and I'm like, where do we find those? So that was helpful in clearing that up. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I have a question here from Anne. How do the animal branch stars this year affect the luck pillar? So luck pillar is opportunities. It's a good question. So not only do we have 4 pillars in our chart, we all go through a 10-year cycle, and that starts at different times in our lives. We all have different 10-year cycles, and these 10-year cycles, interact with our chart just like the annual year does. And so if you have, say, monkey or tiger, 2 of the luckier stars in your luck cycle, it means that you have more opportunities as possibilities there as well. Yeah, that's too big a question, Pooja, to answer if luck pillars and death and emptiness in this class.
Marlena,
Yeah.
Minu has a question.
Okay, Minu, is it written?
I unmuted, but I can read it.
Yeah.
Just learn a little bit more specifically about what the Jade Hall, Dragon Pool, and National Treasure represent. That seems to dominate my whole chart, and I have no clue what it means.
Yeah. You know, which animal is that specifically with?
Snake.
The snake, yeah. And so I go, you know, it's so easy to get Jade Hall, that some of them are wealth opportunities. So for sure you have wealth opportunities coming to you. Let me just see what I have written here. This 3 stages combination is the snake and the ox are friends. And then National Treasure is also a wealth opportunity. So those are like, you have opportunities to increase your wealth that year, is particularly what I would say that is. The rest is, they're actually, I don't want to get bogged down in each of the individual stars. That's why I just gave a general overview for each animal, because it's like, in even the names, people get caught up in the names. It's like, is it, you know, positive or negative. Like if I put up the names of the negative stars here, you guys, that would be the only thing in your mind that you think about. The takeaway for you is snake has opportunities. If you work hard or consistently, you will have opportunities come to you that you don't even see yet coming. And you should be able to, your business should grow. That's really the short and long of that.
Is there any other theme that shows up other than work, business, and wealth?
Oh, for sure, but I'd have to look at your whole chart to be able to, because you can't just separate the snake. I have to look and see, is it interacting? Because if there's a pig beside your snake, that changes everything, because that's a clash, right? And so that's why I'm just giving really general stuff here.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. And we'll talk. You have access to me. Mina's building a house. So she's one of my clients who is building a new house. So that's exciting. We're being able to, that's my favorite, being able to design and build a house with somebody from scratch who's into this. It's like great. Okay. Allison, let me just get to this. Just wondering, or Lois, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say Allison.
Yeah. Just wondering if we want to implement, I'm not sure what you'd call Feng Shui cures. Oh, yes. Okay. Yes, Feng Shui cures. That's true. I did not, you know a little bit about Feng Shui. The area to really maybe clean and tidy before February 12th. I go more into that all-day workshop, right, that I did in December, where we talk about the different sectors of each house and what star is in each corner and all that stuff. The Southeast has the 5. And if you know what the 5 is the area that once the year starts, we don't want to disturb it. So if you know where the Southeast sector is this year, give it already a good clean and tidy so that it's okay to use after the year starts, but it's ideal not to activate. So I would give it a good clean and tidy. If you can add some extra metal there or put some metal wind chimes or things like that, you could do that. But past that, the rest of the cures actually depend on what your goals are, what sector you want to activate. And that information is on that December 13th self-study now. But thanks, nice to see you. I hope you're well.
So Anna's got a question for you about her her chart. Anna, are you there? If you
And
can,
Salmon there?
Anna,
Oh, Anna. Yeah.
if you can unmute yourself and say something.
Hi there. Did I have a question? I'm sorry. I had to step away for a second.
This is
I had my hand raised. I think I mistakenly did that. Hi, Marlena.
Hi, Anna. Nice to see you.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the your talk so far. I mean, I guess I'm just let's see. So I'm a dragon. I'm just thinking in terms of any challenges I need to prepare for this year. But we're gonna have a session anyway, so it's fine. I'm all good.
Talk then. Perfect. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you.
Hello, this is Anna. I sent a question. Hi, Arlene.
Another Anna. Yeah.
I have my birthday. So my birthday is tomorrow, and
Happy birthday.
I thought, thank you so much. And I thought maybe you can give me any good news. I don't know. So I have my chart here. And
I've lost you. I can't hear you.
I born on 8 a.m. in the morning. So dragon in my hour, horse in my day, ox my month, and horse in my year.
What do you do?
What does it mean? What do I do?
Do you work? Do you have children? Are you married? Like, what do you do?
No children, no married. So let's say.
You work?
Yes, but now it's a tough situation, let's say difficult situation. I have academic background in science.
It's just on the surface of what you told me. I think it's a good year to be a good employee and do the best you can and not cause any problems. Be a hard worker. The types of energy you have, there are more ones where It's a year where you should really evaluate what you're doing, I think, and decide if this is where you want to continue doing, but it's not a year for you to make big changes, okay? And so, but the following year, the tiger year, because you have a lot of earth in your chart, the tiger year should be a better year for you to move forward. So by setting your goals of where you want to be, say 5 years from now, what do you need to do to get ready to be better, or who do you need to know, what kind of things? And I would just start steering your boat, so to speak, in that direction so that you are better prepared for when 2022 comes along. And I think opportunities will come your way.
I am between research and teaching.
Yeah.
So I have more academic experience in teaching, but then I got a research experience, and just because of this situation.
Yeah, but I can't really go into depth more, Anna. It's just as you have to decide what you want. And this is the year to do what you need to do personally to make that happen. I don't think you will get the luck from other people. Okay, does that make sense?
Oh, can you repeat it again? I didn't got it.
Okay, you need to decide where you want to be in 5 years, and then you do what you need to do to get ready. You make your luck this year, not other people.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All right. Okay, are we able to access the December workshop? Yes, the December workshop's on my website. It is. And Minu, you're very welcome. Thank you, Carol. And Margaret just said the Southeast has the 5. No, the 5 is in the Southeast, Margaret, in 2021, 100%. Maybe, yeah, no, it's in the East 2020 and Southeast in 2021. So Southeast is the sector to watch for those of you that know flying stars. Maria, nice to see you. It's been a long time. Yeah. No worries. Okay, anybody else?
I'm just going to put the link to the 2021 in the for everybody right now. There's a few questions.
Great. Yeah, I'm happy to stay here a few more minutes if you got a question that pertains to what we were going through.
Well, Melanie has a question.
Okay, hi Melanie.
Hi Marlena, Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for a great session. Yeah, I just would like to set up a consultation with you, so if we could email and talk about the times, that'd be great.
So I'm finally getting more digitized. On my website, on the consultation page, you can pay for the reading, and once readings are paid for, we set the time. And so there's, okay, are you in a coffee shop, Melanie?
Oh yeah, sorry. Here, I'll mute.
Yeah, thanks. And so, so then, if you're a first-time client, you pay for a first-time reading. And if you're a repeat client, you pay for the second-time reading. And then I'll email you, we'll set up a time. That easy. Yeah, thank you. And so, thank you all for giving me your time. I see Heather there on the couch.
Sorry, I just from the class that we had before, I just wanted to ask you about that pricing, that I was taking, that I took with you.
Yeah, you mean the full Batsy class that you took? Yeah.
No, the other one.
The Feng Shui, which Feng Shui for Life?
No, the one that was recent,
about the December 13th class. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes. What about that?
Well, if that discount still applied.
No, it's up on the website now at the price. It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's $98.
What's that?
It's $98 Canadian. So it's like,
But Melanie took it already.
Well, then she has the link to watching it. Yeah.
Right.
No, I was referring to the consultation.
Oh, yeah, that's passed. The prices, that passed. The prices are now up on the website.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah. Yeah, a bunch of that's how I'm booking into February right now. So, you know, how do you get the code for the Batsy class? Lois, did you put it up?
Yes.
Yeah, it's in the chat here somewhere. Lois put it up, and the link with the code. What? Yeah,
So the Batsy class right now,
the intro one.
the intro, the 4-week Monday night class has a 50% off coupon. And I've put the coupon code in the chat. But just so you know, it's Empowered 2021, all uppercase.
Yeah, okay, capital letters. Okay. Yeah. Empowered 2021. There you go.
Yeah.
You know, I send out a newsletter once a month, and that's where all that information is. So if you go to the website and sign up, I don't want to bombard you guys. I actually just want to empower you guys. I don't like getting a ton of emails. So I like to give you guys good information. I'm going to continue doing some free stuff continually, but if you want a more in-depth stuff, then, you know, then that's getting into the workshops.
And
Yeah.
Margaret's asking, how long before February 12th do we move things to be out of the 5?
Yeah, yeah, how long? I mean, out of the southeast, Margaret, like is the southeast your bedroom?
Yes, the southeast is my bedroom. I was confused there. So you have already told me to move out of my bedroom by the new year. So is that February 12th I have to have done that, or
You know what,
before?
ideally, if you can do it before February 3rd would be even better.
I seem to recall there was that 2 weeks earlier date.
Yeah. But if it doesn't get done to the 12th, it's not the end of the world, but the flying stars change on the 3rd. Okay.
The 3rd.
So if you can do it on one of those house cleaning days, or, you know, you can email me and I can give you a good day.
We're having a reading in the end of January,
Oh,
so
perfect.
I just am
Yeah.
trying to anticipate things. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Okay. Thanks, Margaret. Nice to see you.
Yeah, sorry, I've been at the gym, so
I know she's in Australia. They're having their summer. I know.
Yeah, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's a very sunny, beautiful day out here.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
nice. Okay, great. Thanks.
Marlena, Kelly, are you there?
Yes.
Kelly's curious what the 5 is. And
5 is?
Yeah, so it's the first time she's joined the seminar.
Ah, okay. That's a really, really good question. Okay. So in Feng Shui, there is a school called Flying Stars. Flying Stars. And the Chinese name is Zhongkong. There's Zhongkong Fei Xing, there's Zhongkong Dagua, but the basic is Zhongkong is Flying Stars. And in Flying Stars, you take your house and you put it into 8 directions and the center. You've probably seen what's called the Bagua. And, you know, so there's north, south, east, west, and the cardinal directions. And each of those squares gets a number. Okay, and there's what's called the original number. So the Lo Shu has 5 in the center. And the 5 in the center is the Emperor star. It is considered the most powerful of all the stars. It's the strongest of all the stars. Now these stars, we just call them stars for lack of another term. They're not literally stars. And so the 5 is an earth star. The element is earth. And when it's not in the center, and when it's not timely, and so these stars are also affected by time, and it is currently not timely. So the 5, when it moves out of the center, which it does annually, just like the ox and the rat and the tiger all have a sequence, so do these stars. And so the 5 is not in the center right now, and it's going to be next year in the southeast. And when it gets activated or unusually, so what can activate it is renovations, hammering, something unusual. Regular use does not activate it. It's unusual use that activates it. But when it gets activated, it causes blockages. It can cause obstacles. It can cause, like, so for instance, when I've had the 5 activated in different homes over the years, my car got broken into. You know, just things, nothing, I didn't die. Nothing super serious, but maybe my travel didn't go so smoothly. So we try to soothe and calm down the 5. And how you soothe and calm it down, one of the ways is with metal. Just hang on a second.
Kelly, if you want to unmute yourself and speak with Marlena, feel free.
Okay, thank you.
Are you working with Marlena right now?
Yeah, we had sent her our plan about a year, I guess about a year, just over a year ago.
Yeah.
Because we were going to be building on our lot, and our lot is on the river, and it's encased by some trees, and it's really nice. And she had done, she had looked at the plan and told us which bedrooms for the kids and all that kind of stuff. And we've run into some obstacles, so it was put on hold for a while. But the lot's finally been subdivided. We've staked out where the house is going to go on the lot now, and we're going to be going into finalizing plans, which I hope to be able to send you to look at one more time for us. Yeah, so it's
I was wondering what happened. Yeah, and so but you know, there's a saying, don't worry about what you can't change. You know,
yeah,
like,
no, for sure. So but
so
I
the
just
5, I take the 5 into account when I do consultations, you know, in that whole type of thing. But in the yearly stuff, if we can just make, that's why I didn't even include any of that stuff in this talk, because for brand new beginner people, I think it's too much.
Yeah, no, and I just didn't understand what the 5 was that you guys were talking about. So I just wanted to ask the question of what it was. So
yeah, it just refers to a type of energy. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So any last quick questions? Well, thank you all very, very much. It's been my pleasure to be here with you. And I wish you all a prosperous, peaceful, happy 2021.